Hi children, this is Grandma Carla with chapter 3 of Frog Power by Beverly Lewis, and this is the closest thing to an Easter book that I could find for Easter weekend. Jason held his frog high. This is Croaker. He pointed to the round spots behind the frog's eyes. These are Croaker's ears. He can hear sounds underwater. Jason pranced around his desk. Even with his medicine, he was still hyper sometimes. Up and down the row he paced, showing off his bullfrog. Some of the kids were brave. They touched Croaker's skin. When Jason stopped at Abby Hunter's desk, she stuck her pointer finger out. And then she closed her eyes, wrinkled her nose, and touched him. Her eyes popped open. Ooh! Jason skipped up to Stacy's desk. It's your turn. He held the frog in front of her face. What's it feel like? Stacy wondered. She stared at the frog. I'll pass, she said, sliding back in her seat. Jason grinned. You sure? Uh-huh. Stacy looked into the giant eyes of the bullfrog. She felt sick. Quick as a flash, Croaker leaped out of Jason's hands and into Stacy's lap. Get it off me! She screamed. Her fingers bumped against the bullfrog's skin. Ick! Before Jason could grab him, Croaker jumped off Stacy's lap and landed on Duncan's desk. I catch, Sean cried in broken English, letting go of Snow White's leash. Sean dashed after Croaker. Then Snow White darted after Sean, barking loudly. Soon, Sunday Funnies was yipping, Fran the Ham was twittering, Croaker was croaking, cats were meowing, and a parrot was screeching. But Miss Hershey was silent. She simply sat at her desk and smiled. After chasing the frog around the room 2 more times, Jason caught Croaker. He put him back in the cage and closed the wooden lid. There, said Jason. I think he needs my hyper medicine. Eric laughed, and so did the other boys. Stacy did not think it was funny. She raised her hand. May I be excused, please? Miss Hershey nodded. Stacy dashed out of the classroom and down the hall. It was time to get rid of the froggy feel on her hands. The girls' room was empty. Good, she thought. Filling her hands with liquid soap, Stacy scrubbed and rubbed and scrubbed some more. And suddenly, Stacy heard a strange sound. It was coming from the stall behind her. She listened. What on earth? She dried her hands and waited. There it was again. It sounded like... Out from under the door scampered her puppy. Sunday Funny, she cried. What are you doing? The puppy's head was dripping wet. Oh, you're thirsty, is that it? Stacy shook her finger at him. Toilets are not for drinking, and she went into the stall to check. Thank goodness, the toilet was flushed. Stacy lathered up her hands with soap and washed Sunday Funny's head and face. Then she held him up to the dryer. Minutes later, Miss Hershey came in. Are you all right, Stacy? Stacy nodded. Everything's under control now. Miss Hershey touched Stacy's shoulder. Let's get you back to class. I think you'll like the story today. Stacy followed Miss Hershey down the hall. She wanted to forget about Jason's bullfrog forever. We're reading The Frog Prince, Miss Hershey said as she opened the classroom door. Stacy dragged her feet. She felt worse than ever. It was bad enough having a frog breathe down her neck. Now she had to read about one too. Super Ixville, she muttered on the way to her desk. Who wants to read that fairy tale? She looked at the clock. 15 minutes until recess. 15 minutes, too many. That was the end of chapter 3. This is Grandma Carla. I love you.